Morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Somebody's shaking their head at me saying, it's not a good morning. I think it's a good morning. It's a beautiful morning. So happy to see you all here. We're going to start a new series this morning, another short series that might feel a little more familiar than some of the things we've been dipping into lately, but we've got a full morning until we get to that part of the program. And so I would like, before we get started, for everybody to just kind of take a few deep breaths and get yourself grounded. Feel those feet on the floor. See if you can slow things down for yourself just a little bit. And join me in responding to the words I'm about to say. Come as you are, aching, tired, joyful, or seeking. Here, you're woven together in love. Set down what you carry and let this be a place of rest. Here, we are held in hope and mercy. Be present to yourself, to each other, and to the divine life that flows through all things. Here, together, we find the common thread of divine life that connects us all. This common thread of divine life in which we live and move and have our being together. Our God, who is lover beloved and love overflowing. Amen.
I am because we are. And since we are, therefore, I am. Ubuntu. Oh, gather up the brokenness and bring it to me now. The fragrance of those promises you never dared to vow. The splinters that you carry, the cross you left behind. Come healing of the body, come healing of the mind, and let the heavens hear it, the penitential hymn. Come healing of the spirit, come healing of the limb. Behold the gates of mercy in arbitrary space, and none of us deserving of the cruelty or the grace. Oh, solitude of longing, branches to lift the little bud. Oh, longing of the arteries to purify the blood, and let the heavens hear it, the penitential hymn. Come, healing of the spirit, come, healing of the limb, and let the heavens hear it, the penitential hymn. Come, healing of the body, come, healing of the limb. All right. Good morning. Welcome. I know, back, forth, back, forth. Welcome. I am Melissa, and I am going to do the liturgist role without a script today. So, here we go. Welcome to Common Thread. We are so happy that you have gathered with us this morning, and we are delighted that you are here. Whether you're a newcomer or an old-timer, if you've been coming every week or it's been years, if you found us online or wandered in off the street, however you ended up here this morning, we are delighted that you are here. And if you are new and you want to find out a little bit more about us, on the screen is a QR code that you can click with your phone. And if you follow the link, it will send you a very zero pressure email where you can find out a little bit more about us. And in the email, there is an option to actually meet with a real live person. And I know that is the scarier option, but it is very good if you actually want to find out who we are, what we're about. Someone can tell you, they can give you the skinny, where we fall short, where we shine, but most importantly, how transformation is the aim, where each of us is on our spiritual journey. And we do that together, we walk together, because we know that takes us farther than we could ever go on our own. So that QR code will get you linked up with more information if you want to follow it. Yes. And then an even more heartfelt welcome if you are here today and you are having a hard time. It is wild out there right now. And just collectively, we are carrying a lot of hard things. And privately and intimately, you are probably carrying other stuff as well. And so if you are feeling heavy laden, we have a listener down the hall each week after the service to hold space for you. They will listen while you talk, while you cry, while you vent, whatever you need to do. So if you need a kind ear, a metaphorical or literal shoulder to cry on, someone is going to be down the hall in the library after service today. And I believe it is John. Are you our listener today? Yes, John right there in the middle. He's going to be our listener. So he'll be in the library after service. So feel free, if that feels good and right to you today, to take advantage of that. And also, on that QR code, you can click that, and it will hook you up with Morgan, who is our care team coordinator, and she can also help you get linked up with somebody who can be of support if you need that right now. Now, let us say together, as we do each week, if you are here, you belong. And we are, every one of us, carriers of the inner light. And we are, every one of us, carriers of divine breath. And so now I invite you to stand and greet other carriers of inner light and divine breath.
try to be in alignment. Alignment is a good thing.
Good morning. Good. How are you? Good to see you. Good job with that one. Oh, thank you.
So please, I encourage you to participate.
Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come again, come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come again, come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving. Oh, come, come, whoever you are. This isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet
yet again. Come again, come again, come. Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, oh come. Come, whoever you are, this isn't a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, oh come. Come, whoever you are, this isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come again, come again, come again, come again, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, oh come. Come, whoever you are, this isn't a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, oh come. Come, whoever you are, this isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come again, come. Come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, oh come. Come, whoever you are, this isn't a caravan of despair. Come, come, whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, lover of leaving, oh come. Come, whoever you are, this isn't a caravan of despair. It doesn't matter if you've broken your vows 1,000 times before, and yet again, come again, come again, come.
Hello again. You're going to get rid of me in a second. Okay, so a few ways to connect in the community. You can see up on the screen there's a lot happening over the next month. I'm not going to run through all of those, but I will tell you how to find out about all of those in just a minute again. But a couple of featured announcements. We have the opportunity to volunteer with Hope Ministries. So there's a couple of ways. I believe next Sunday is an opportunity to bring in some men's season-appropriate clean clothes, donating shirts, jeans, socks, shoes, underwear, just out in the lobby. You can bring those for collection next week. And then it looks like October 4th is going to be an opportunity to actually work at Hope Ministries in Garner and go and serve. So I am sure if you have questions about that, Preston is probably the go-to back there. And then our other featured announcement is that coming up October 12th is an opportunity for you to join in on an open board meeting. And so that is available to anybody who is registered in the directory. You will have an opportunity to go and sit in at the board meeting happening on October 12th. And then, so if you missed any of that or you want to find out more, there's a number of ways to get connected. We've got the church app that has all of the calendar events listed, the website, and then the weekly email that goes out on Thursday. So that is all for me, I think. Thank you.
Thank you, Melissa, doing that without a script. All right. That's what happens when you do it 50 times. You kind of know what's going on. So anyhow, so real quick, you got the financial email this past week if you are signed up to receive our emails. Oops, excuse me. Clicked the wrong, this is the thing I want to click. Where you saw that regular giving was low, but an extra gift put us over the top again in August. And that all year, we have one way or another been bringing in just about as much as we've been spending with a little bit to spare. So it's a good, steady, healthy balance that's keeping us in good shape. Check out the email if you want to see more. There's also a link to our monthly finance folders. If you want to dig deeper, you can see everything. We want to be utterly transparent about our finances around here. And I just want to say that if you haven't made regular giving a part of your spiritual rhythm, this would be a great time to start. We're going to talk about this in a few minutes. We are not a transactional community where you give in order to get something back. We are a community of love in action. And so every dollar you give is an investment in this life we are building together here, in the presence we offer each other, in the beauty we're weaving, and in the future we're growing one thread at a time. So thank you for your continued investments of time, energy, love, and the funding that is required to support the ongoing evolution of authentic, healthy, spiritual community. And now I'm going to invite you to take a moment to settle in. If you have been here for a long time or you were here over the summer when George came to speak to us and play with us, he brought back something that is a little bit old, an old song that was very popular in this community as I understand it, and he and Joe worked on it together. And so Joe and Melissa have been working on bringing it to this new stage in our life together, and it's going to be our contemplative practice today. So I would like for us all to take a moment to settle in, to be here, to feel what it's like to stop doing and to start being. If it feels comfortable, close your eyes and let your hands rest in your lap or on the table. Notice your breath, but just let it move at its own pace. There's no need to change anything, just be aware. I invite you to bring your attention to the top of your head. Go ahead and touch the top of your head if it helps you bring attention there. What do you feel? Is it tight? Is it quiet? Whatever you're feeling there, just notice it. And let that attention move down to your face. And just notice what you feel in your forehead, your eyes, and your jaw. Notice if your jaw is clenched. It is for so many of us, so much of the time. If it is, just see if it wants to loosen. Let your attention flow through your neck to your shoulders. See if you can let those shoulders drop just a little bit. And the muscles there let go. And can you let that softening move down your arms, through your elbows, your forearms, your wrists, your palms, and into your fingers. You notice what your body is holding. And if there's anything you don't need right now, see if you can let it go. Bring your awareness to your chest now. Feel the rise and fall of your breath. Now into your belly. See if you can let it soften. And your hips, backs, your legs, your knees. Go back up and feel the weight of your body in your chair. Feel supported there. Now flow your attention back down through your legs again to your feet on the floor. Connected to the earth, to each other, and all that is. Take a slow breath in and a longer breath out. Let yourself settle into stillness. Just this moment, just this breath, just this being. We invite you to sing with Joe and Melissa, and let each verse draw us deeper from thoughts into stillness. From stillness into presence. From presence into being. Be still and know.
Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know. Be still and know. Be still and know. Be still and know. Be still. Be still. Be still. Be still. Be
So, all year long, we've been circling a big question. What does it mean to be human? We've explored this question from some pretty unexpected angles. To begin the year, we looked to creatures other than humans, if you recall, whales and starlings, and a certain groundhog in Punxsutawney. We let the Beatitudes whisper us awake, not to virtue, but to vulnerability. We listened to fresh voices, old and new, speak of rewilding and grace, of youth and possibility, of soul work and becoming. We unwrapped our primal wiring, remembering that moral imagination and trust aren't just lofty ideals, they're birthrights that we are always being invited to reclaim. And just last week, Maria invited us to see the 10 Commandments of all things in a whole new way, a way that resonated powerfully with many of us. It's been a pretty full 8 months. And we're not the same humans we were back in January. At least I hope we're not. So now, after a lot of new things over the course of this year, we return to something very familiar, the circle. But we return not as the same people we were. Working the circle is language we've used for years at Common Thread. It names 4 kinds of spiritual practices we hold together: communal, learning, contemplative, and serving. Just 2 weeks ago, in fact, we celebrated our annual Working the Circle Day, not as a recruitment fair, but as a sacred invitation to consider how we might be nourished and how we might offer nourishment to each other in this spiraling web of relationship we're building in this new season of our life together. But here's the thing about spiraling, which is a metaphor we have used for walking the spiritual path here all year long. The thing about spiraling is that if there's no center of gravity, no grounding, no tether, we wind up spiraling off into space. And as humans, we need something to hold us, not to hold us in place, but to hold us in presence and purpose. And that something is community. So this week, we take a new look at the communal quadrant. Now, in past years, Doug, he's the guy who founded this place, by the way, in case you're new and you don't know. But Doug named this as the first of our 4 core practices. Not because it was the most important, but because it was the soil for everything else. Doug often said, if you have 10 units of energy to invest, spend 8 of them making friends. And over time, we structured much of our life together, our calendar, our offerings, our culture, around the idea that authentic relationships are the ground from which transformation grows. And we have inhabited that spirit pretty well. We've had plenty of potlucks and book clubs and game nights and walks. We've had life story groups and honest conversations, laughter and grief. We built spaces where people could belong at whatever depth they were ready for, whether that depth was public or social or personal or deep. But this quadrant isn't just a list of things we do together. It's evolving into a reflection of how we are with each other. Because that's what really shapes a community. Not just shared meals or shared tasks or even shared spiritual practices, but shared rhythms, shared ways of being, not bound by obligation, but liberated by love. And if we're going to become ever more a community that is committed to the mutual flourishing and freedom of its people, then we must ask ourselves, what kind of community sets people free? If you have come here to help me, you are wasting your time. But if you have come because your liberation is bound up with mine, then let us work together. That line was born in the 1970s from a group of Aboriginal women in Australia resisting a certain kind of familiar charity. The kind that looked like help on the surface, but kept power centralized in white-led institutions. Government programs, churches, nonprofits, offering assistance, yes, but on their terms, on their timeline, and always with the reins still in their hands. It was help that said, we know best what you need, help that at best made people feel grateful to be rescued, but never truly free. So these women spoke these words not to refuse help, but to welcome solidarity. Not to dismiss charity, but to invite co-liberation. Not to reject relationship, but to reimagine it. And it's the same vision that has echoed across cultures and centuries, a vision of interdependence, not as weakness, but as wisdom. For instance, there's an ancient African wisdom called Ubuntu, meaning I am because we are. We heard Melissa read it earlier. It's a way of life, one that's been practiced for generations in communities on the African continent. It was Archbishop Desmond Tutu who helped bring Ubuntu to the wider world, reminding us that our humanity is bound up in one another's, that we become ourselves through each other, that our healing, our growth, our freedom, our very being are held in the sacred web of relationship. I am because we are. Not I am because I got my life together. Not I am because I earned my place. Not even I am because I met my obligations and did my part. But simply, I am because we are. Because we belong to one another. Because our lives, like it or not, are knit together. Because our freedom is actually bound up in each other. Because, as Dr. Lilla Watson, the leader of those Australian Aboriginal resistors, once said, no one gets free alone. And that kind of belonging, it runs pretty counter to the world we live in. A world where individualism trumps unity, where we are sold the lie that freedom equals independence, and where almost everything is transactional. What can you do for me? What do I owe you? What do you deserve, and have you earned it? But that's not what we're doing here at Common Thread. This isn't community as transaction. This is community as transformation. This is about becoming, about how we live, about how we relate in a place where we each belong to something bigger than ourselves, where we're nurtured in a nest that holds us while we grow, where we are mirrors for each other, where no one flies solo and no one gets left behind, and we help each other flourish in freedom. even when it's hard, even when we miss the mark. And we do miss the mark. Because even in the most well-meaning places, families, schools, nonprofits, workplaces, churches, yes, even this one, the pull toward a transactional mindset is strong. It sneaks in quietly. Love freely given can begin to feel like obligation. An offering that started joyfully can grow heavy. What feels like a calling can become like a chore. And sometimes our love for an institution or a community or a person or a leader can turn into something stickier than love. A kind of transactional loyalty that keeps us from listening to our own souls. Something that slowly starts placing something or someone in a space that only truth should occupy. And no one sets out to create a culture of such obligation, one marked by transaction instead of mutuality, by loyalty instead of love. But it can happen without us realizing it, so we pay attention. And when we see it, we name it. And then we can choose differently. Because what we're after here, evermore, all the time, as we are always, always, always becoming, is not a community bound by obligation, and we don't want to slip into that. We want to continue to become a community freed by mutuality. The freedom to be real, to be held, to be healed, to be changed, not by what we earn, not by all the things we do, but by how we love. And maybe that's why Maria's message last week landed so deeply for so many of us, because it was a vision of freedom. Not just for each of us, but for all of us, as all of us. A people called out of survival, out of striving, out of all the invisible contracts that keep us locked in old patterns. You are free, Maria told us, free to rest. Free to stop trying to earn what's already yours. Free to let go of the self that keeps shrinking to fit the space it's been given. And that's not just personal wisdom, that's collective liberation. That's a path out of idolatry, especially the kind that creeps into our systems and our relationships and makes us forget that we are already enough. So instead of prescriptions, what we're offered are possibilities. Not you must, but you can. And maybe that's the call of a community like ours. To keep remembering together, we don't belong to obligation, we belong to possibility. We belong to love, and we belong to each other. And to become that kind of community, where love flows freely, where becoming is possible, and where no one is left behind, we have to live into a way of being that stretches us. And this isn't an easy kind of community. It's not built on politeness or performance. It doesn't let us hide behind small talk or pretend that everything is fine. It's built on truth. And truth asks something of us. Not just when things are flowing, but when they're messy. Not just when it's convenient, but when it's costly. A liberated, healthy spiritual community is marked by at least these three challenging qualities: authenticity, vulnerability, and consistency. And they sound good on paper or on a slide, but living into them, that's where the rubber meets the road. So let's start with authenticity. Because let's face it, belonging only works when it's real. And real is hard. We aspire to authenticity with each other, but that's a pretty countercultural way of being. We've been trained to hide what's tender, to smooth things over instead of naming them, and to prioritize harmony over honesty. But a community built on authenticity asks more of us. It asks us to be clear, to be courageous, to be direct, even when it's awkward. And when that feels like too much, when tension rises or boundaries get blurry, we often default to a pattern we know all too well from all kinds of spaces in our lives: triangulation. So triangulation happens when we talk about someone instead of talking to them. And I'm sure we have all triangulated at some point in our lives, not because we're malicious, but because we're human. It's easier to talk about than to talk to, especially when emotions are high or the stakes feel personal. Sometimes when we do it, it's a bid for connection, a kind of bonding over frustration about someone else. Sometimes it's driven by a quiet agenda, venting to someone we know will take our side. And sometimes it's just plain manipulation dressed up as concern. Now, not every conversation about someone is triangulation. There's room in healthy communities for venting, processing, decompressing, especially when emotions are raw or relationships feel tender, or there is a need to have that conversation for the benefit, perhaps, of the person about whom we are speaking. But wise communities and wise humans learn to pause and ask, what's the real motivation behind what I'm about to say? Am I seeking wisdom, or am I seeking control? Am I moving toward repair or away from discomfort? Because triangulation might feel safer in the short run, but what it is a detour around authenticity. It stunts the relationships we say we value, and it quietly reaffirms the lie that freedom is found in control instead of courage. Now, at Common Thread, we've never been immune to messy patterns. In fact, being honest about that is part of our GarageBand charm. There is no being human without also being messy. But because transformation is what we are after, we pay attention. And we notice when we fall into these habits, and we practice new ways of being, choosing truth over avoidance, risking honesty over secrecy. And each time we do these things, we dismantle a little more of the fear that says we're not strong enough to face each other with love, that says we're not capable of staying present in the very tension that might lead to our transformation. And that leads us to the next quality, vulnerability. Because authenticity, being real, means nothing if we aren't also willing to be changed by the relationships we're in. We live in a culture that says, keep things light, protect yourself, don't damage your reputation. But vulnerability invites us deeper. It asks us to take off the mask, to risk being seen, to risk being misunderstood, to risk even being rejected, in the hope of being truly known. And that's not easy. We worry about hurting someone's feelings. We hesitate to reveal too much. We'd rather hold our breath than hold the tension. But vulnerability isn't weakness. It's the birthplace of transformation. Because vulnerability isn't just about telling the truth. It's about staying open when truth makes things tense. It's choosing to stay in the room when the conversation gets messy. And it's letting the friction shape us instead of shutting us down. Because that friction we try so hard to avoid in our lives, it's often the very thing that gives rise to new life. So in this community, we dare to be vulnerable. And when we dare to be vulnerable, we unlock something even deeper: the courage to name what we truly need. And boy, we do see this a lot around here. I do. And that brings us to the final defining quality in this rhythm of becoming: consistency. Because authenticity without vulnerability might be cathartic, but it won't change much. And vulnerability without consistency, well, it might open our hearts, but it won't build the kind of community we can lean on. Consistency is where all of this becomes real. It's the quiet practice of showing up again and again, not just when it's convenient or exciting, but when it's awkward, when it's boring, and when it's costly. And if we hope for that kind of consistency without feeling guilt or a sense of obligation, where love flows freely in the midst of any circumstance, then we also have to consistently create the kind of community where we really and truly hold each other, where we help each other carry the things that get in the way of showing up with our whole selves. This is where our spiritual lives move from aspiration to integration. When we stop pretending we're rugged individualists and begin to name out loud what we actually need in order to flourish. To shift from a posture of, I'll figure this out on my own, to, maybe I don't have to carry this alone. And if we are serious about this integration, then we need some infrastructure that supports this shift. So we're building a simple tool called the In It Together Exchange, kind of a living ecosystem of gifts and needs in app form. And already about 24 of us have shared what we have to offer in terms of gifts of time, skill, care, companionship. And we'll be rolling out our first tentative version to everyone in a few weeks in an effort to help us sustain our generosity and create systems of consistent support. Before we build it further, Maria actually wisely suggested we hit pause so that, in the spirit of those Aboriginal Australians I mentioned earlier, we can hear from you what your most pressing needs are. And I'm telling you, this is a bigger invitation than you might realize. We're not asking what you think you're allowed to need. We're not asking you to pare down your needs into what seems reasonable or doable. We're asking what you actually need in an ongoing, dependable, we're truly in this together kind of way. I mean, maybe you need ongoing help getting meals prepped. Maybe you're drowning in house projects. Maybe you need a roommate. Maybe you're feeling isolated and unseen. Maybe you need someone to take your kid to school every single morning. Whatever it is, don't hold back just because the need feels big. We truly want to get a picture of what our communal needs are here. So you can click this QR code and begin submitting your needs anonymously to begin with, because we know that developing our vulnerability muscles takes time. And you might feel freer for now to name your needs without naming your name. Whatever it is, if it's real for you, we want to know. This isn't a promise for us to jump in and take care of all of your needs. That's pretty impossible. And we might not be able to solve everything right away, or even solve everything ever, but we want you to name it so you can begin to lighten your burden, and so that we can have a sense of what the burdens here actually are. There's power in naming our needs, even anonymously, because when we name them, we acknowledge reality. And when we as a community see them, we come to better know who we are collectively. And once we get this exchange up and running, if someone can truly help us, we begin to find the kind of nest-level safety that takes us out of survival mode. And without that constant drain on our own resources, perhaps we can tap more deeply into the infinite well of divine love within us and let that love flow more freely. And our life together becomes just that, life together. And our life together truly becomes an exchange, not a transaction, but love in action. Yes, our life together as love in action. As we've often said here, if you want to go fast on the spiritual journey, go alone. But if you want to go far, go together. But if it's true that no one gets free alone, where are we headed if we go it alone? Are we even on the right path if we're not walking it together? Spiritual journey isn't a solo hike. It's a winding, sacred pilgrimage, one that needs companions to hold us, to mirror us, to challenge us, to help us grow. And if we want to grow, really grow, it's going to ask something of us. To be real, to be open, to be consistent in love. We're not who we were when we began this year, and we won't be who we are now by this time next year, but that's the beauty of becoming in authentic, healthy spiritual community. It liberates us that we might live more fully, love more freely, and give ourselves to what matters most. So bring your sacred longing to be held and to hold. And as we continue working the circle and walking the path, let's keep figuring out how to be more human, how to be more free, and how to keep becoming together. Amen. Well, friends on the live stream, so glad that you joined us this morning. Once again, assuming you are joining us this morning. We're about to do something here in the room called What Are You Thinking, Sensing, and Feeling? Where we talk about the lesson, where we talk about the service, where we talk about what's going on in our lives and what's going on in the world. And we have a bunch of folks who regularly tune in remotely to watch these live streams who do the same thing online. And if you are new, you are invited to join them. If you go to the comments below the YouTube video that you're watching, you'll see a link that says, What are you thinking? Feel free to click on that. You'll join a Zoom call with some of the best people I know who will be talking online about what we're talking about here. And in some way, it's a different experience. It's a little more intimate. It's a smaller group. But if you're feeling any hesitation, but you want to be connected in community, like we just spoke about, go ahead and take the leap. Join that call. The code to get in is 1417, and my friends there will be very happy to welcome you in. If you're watching at a time other than Sunday morning, there is another link below that comment where you can request an email. It's not dissimilar to the newcomer email that Melissa mentioned earlier, but this one has a little bit of remote specificity, so you can find out more about us in a very low-pressure way. Feel free to click that link, and we'll be happy to send that email to you. And with that, friends in the room, can we dismiss our friends on the live stream by putting one hand over our hearts and remembering that the divine indwells us, and the divine connects us. The divine runs through us and among us. And so let us be mindful of that this week, this divine life that is in us, which means, of course, that the fruit of the Spirit are in us, nutrients that our world is dying for right now. Love, kindness, patience. It's all in there, and we are called to nurture it that we might share it with the rest of the world. And so let's extend our other hand to our city and to our world, resolving to share what is in us with everyone, with whom we live, with whom we work, with whom we go to school, everyone we encounter on the street, as we take seriously this week our charge to be healers and repairers of our world. Amen. Folks on the live stream, God bless you. You are dismissed. Folks in the room, I invite you to take a few moments again to get grounded and in touch with what you're sensing and feeling before we talk about what we're thinking.
So there's a term that wasn't said, but I think underlies everything that you just said, and this whole thing about unconditional love, right? It's God's unconditional love. The unconditional love we ought to have for one another. Absolutely not transactional, right? Because a transaction requires something in return. So I just wanted to kind of say that. The other thing, and we have talked about this before, but when you're talking about vulnerability and authenticity, and it does bring us to uncomfortable places, right? We have personal or interpersonal problems where we're uncomfortable. It's because we're